and I'm mentally ill. But I'm also normal. I'm both. Hello YouTube, and welcome to By Popular Demand. So today we're going to be talking about mental illness in terms of how it is actually a physical illness. So hopefully the takeaway from this will be not to look at mental illness any differently than you would look at any other type of illness. It's going to be educational, it's going to be informative, so just follow along with me. The body is comprised of many organs in which disease can form. So there are various types of diseases depending on where they are in the body. So if we look at some organ systems, let's say the brain, heart, kidney, lungs, liver, pancreas, common diseases that you all hear about all the time develop in these areas of the body. With mental illness, the disease develops in the brain. The disease is the result of something being a little off in the brain. And the brain is an organ just like the rest of the organs. In fact, the brain is one of the most incredible organs that we have in our body. They're all important, but the brain is popping, okay? So let's take a look at the heart. A disease that can form in the heart is hypertension or high blood pressure. I know we all know somebody that has high blood pressure, whether it's a grandparent, uncle, you yourself. And so what hypertension is when the force of the blood pumping against the arteries in the heart is too strong. And then that causes thickening of the heart muscle, which leads to a number of other illnesses that include coronary artery disease, kidney disease, and heart attack. Let's move along to the kidneys. Chronic kidney disease or kidney failure is something that we're also familiar with. I know that you guys may be familiar with the term dialysis or the process of dialysis. You might not know what it is, but you've heard of somebody having to get dialysis because of their kidneys. With chronic kidney disease, it's just gradual failure of the kidneys, and that prevents the kidneys from filtering out waste and excess fluid from the blood. And that's why they have to get dialysis. Let's move right along to the liver. Cirrhosis of the liver is when scar tissue replaces the normal tissue in the liver. This cannot be reversed. One of the complications of cirrhosis and liver diseases is that the liver cannot detoxify the body and clean waste out of the blood. Let's move right along to the lungs. So, asthma. Asthma is something that we are all familiar with. We all know somebody with asthma. In asthma, the airways swell and narrow, and then there's an extra production of mucus, which makes it difficult to breathe. If we look at the pancreas, this is the disease that I always compare when I'm trying to get somebody to understand that mental illness is like no different than any other illness, and it is diabetes. Now, we all know somebody with diabetes. Everybody knows about diabetes. A lot of people have diabetes. Specifically, I'm talking about type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes occurs when the pancreas does not make enough insulin to balance out the glucose or sugars in the blood, and therefore you have elevated blood sugars that have to be regulated. It's just a malfunction of your pancreas. Now let's get to the brain. There are lots of diseases that occur in the brain, and some are more accepted than others. For example, stroke. If somebody has a stroke, you know, you feel like, dang, that's messed up that person had a stroke. Or epilepsy, which is seizures. You feel for somebody who has to go through that. But on the same note, mental illness is disease of the brain. The same as the ones I just mentioned, except for they're looked at so much differently. It's really weird. It's really weird to me that stigma exists, because if you look at it how I just described it, every organ system can develop disease, including the brain, and even some diseases of the brain are more accepted than mental illness. Major depressive disorder, ADHD, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, OCD, psychosis, addiction, anxiety. These are all diseases of the brain. Scans have been done on brains of people with these conditions, and they read differently than what is considered the normal brain. It's a logical explanation for the illness if you look at it in terms of it's just kind of a little malfunction of the brain. So why is it that malfunctions of the brain, diseases of the brain, some of them are viewed differently than the diseases of the rest of the body? It's no reason for it. It's ridiculous. These illnesses shouldn't be viewed any differently because they can be treated and managed with proper health care just as any other disease. So, I would just like for you guys to open up your minds to the fact that mental illness is physical illness. It just occurs in the brain. There's no difference. So, if someone opens up to you about the fact that I'm bipolar or I have OCD, don't look at it like any differently than somebody saying, I got diabetes or my gout's flaring up. I mean, disease is disease. Not one holds more weight than the other. I think a lot of people are scared of mental illness because they don't understand it. But when you think about it, do you understand any of the other diseases? Can you break down what's happening in a person that has chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder, COPD? No, you probably can't unless you have a medical background. You'd fear the unknown, but you really don't know about diseases unless you do research on them. I'm hoping that this will help to kill the stigma around mental illness. As a member of the mental illness community, I would just like to end this, I would just like to end it. Because, like I said previously, a lot of people don't seek help because of how certain people judge them. And people are only judgmental because they don't understand that it's the same as every other kind of disease, just in the brain. I do want to say, though, because I am bipolar, and I'm going to do a video on this in the future, there is really there's no reason for bipolar. Like, a lot of the other mental illnesses can be traced, like why you have that. But for bipolar, it ain't one. I've been reading and reading and reading. The only thing that I found is that it could be genetic. But I feel like I know what happened to me and how I became bipolar. I think I know why. I'm gonna tell y'all about it one day. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and tell anyone about it that may be a member of the mental illness community that wants to chat it up with me, okay? Because I'm looking for some mentally ill friends. You feel me?